But I look at it here and it's like 3 seconds delayed.
Oh.
Whatever. Okay, it's all good. Okay? Eila toldos Noach. These are the generations of Noach. Is that where we're starting? Yes. These are offsprings of Noach. You can see it on page 348. Okay? We had a problem, as a lot of times, that we did discuss earlier, the problem of Eila. Not the problem, but actually the question concerning when you have a verse, a sentence that begins with v'ele, and these, or a verse is just ele, these, right? When you have a vav that connects, it means like you have this and that, right? As opposed to when you start a sentence with, like, these are the toldot of Noach, these are the offspring of Noach, that means these in negation to whatever was before. And the Parshat before was Bereshit. We asked the question, and they asked the question earlier in the Zohar, what was being negated? Since it doesn't start, and these are the offspring of Noach, it just says these, meaning it negated something before. We want to know what was being negated. It did answer, but a very Kabbalistic answer. It was in the Sfirot, that Noach, since he was a tzaddik, he's the Sfira of Yesod, that gives to Malchut, that gives to kingship, which means basically that that the righteous person, his heart is always directed to the divine, for the sake of the divine presence. Okay? Which is all of us also, inside our souls. The real tzaddik, the righteous aspect of our souls, also is always involved or wants to be involved in fixing the divine presence. And everybody questions what is the divine presence. So it's the collective consciousness of the Jewish people that we really, our hearts always want to make sure. We want that everybody, all of the Jews, are able to have the maximum divine experience. Okay? We would also like a divine experience. That's why we're all here, right? And yet we also only seek for the completion of the Shekhinah, the divine presence, which means that the Jewish people's ability to receive the divine, to have a divine experience. When we had the temple, so we had the temple in Jerusalem, so we said that was the Shekhinah was there, which means what? A person can go and check in and get a divine experience. Then there was a vortex where you can go and you can get prophecy. That's right. You can go, I don't know about total prophecy, man, but you will definitely get massively inspired. Okay? Let me just see what this is. Okay. Does it work like that? Can I move it? I'm not going to even mess with that. Okay, fine. All right. So that was one answer. These are the toldos of Noah. We're going to get a different answer, and this is going to be amazing. I was reading this today, right, while I was sitting in the pit of hell. Okay? I had to take my daughter to Texas Children's Hospital for an appointment. No, it was an endocrinologist, but the problem is I had to go through Texas Children's, which is where Alicia and the whole experience with Alicia was. So you're going through all of the hallways and everything. So therefore, listen, Baruch Hashem, I was able to sit and go over this text, and I said I was from the depths of hell. I was reading Zohar, okay, while we were waiting in the outside doctor's office to the inside and in the mini room. Okay, these are the told generations of Noach. Rabbi Abba said, Miyoma da'avar, I'm going to read a little bit in the Aramaic because it's good to hear it a little bit because it's going to have an influence on your neshamas, okay? It's like food for your neshama, okay? From the day, Miyoma da'avar Adam al pikuda demare, from the day that Adam went over, transgressed the sin of his master, the mitzvah of his master, Kol b'nei alma de'is yalidu, do you see it on page 348 there? It says, Rabbi Abba said, from the day Adam violated the command, I'm going to translate it literally, so you're going to have to use your mental facilities to follow me because I'm doing it straight in the Aramaic. Okay? And you're going to try to just follow along, and I'm going to try to give it I didn't read this, and if you please read the notes or want to chime in, please. Okay? Like I say, I only had this book in the depths of hell. I didn't have this book. Okay, I couldn't shut all the books into the depths of hell. Okay? So, he says, from the day that Adam transgressed on the mitzvah of his master, right, the commandment of the Lord, Kol b'nei alma de'yishalidu levasar ikrun b'nei ha'adam. All of the people of the world that were born after him are called b'nei Adam, sons of man, sons of Adam. V'lo l'shavacha ikrun hachi. Not for a praise were they called that. It's not a praise to call somebody a ben Adam. You'd think so. Ben Adam. Eze ben Adam.
Yeah,
right? Eze ben Adam ze. Okay. It's not for a praise. Right? Why? It's like somebody who says about a son of a certain person, right? That who transgresses, who sins. Like if somebody is a lowlife, right? Oh, that guy is the son of the Godfather. He's the son of Corleone. He's Corleone's son.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, he's Corleone's son. Here, just put it here.
So in our case, it would be Sodom.
Whatever it was, it is. The bottom line is if you call somebody after a sinner, somebody who sinned, so it's not for a praise. Okay? So that's why the generations after Adam were called Bnei Adam, sons of man, because man sinned in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, all the generations after were called after that. Came into Asa Noach. Once Noach came, Ikrun Bnei Alma, Al Shemei de Noach. So the people of the world are called after his name, that of Noach. They are no longer sons of Adam, but after Noach and the whole incident of the flood, they're called sons of Noach. B'nai Noach. Right? Toldos Noach. These are the generations, the offspring of Noach. L'shivcha. This is for praise. The Ka'im Lon Ba'alma. Because he established the world. He kept the world going. He built the world. He took whatever is going on, and he made sure the world would continue. So therefore, it's a praise. Okay? Below Toldos the Adam, no longer the Toldos of the Adam, the Avar Alma Alma. The Va'ar Lon Me'alma. No longer the generations of Adam that passed, how to say it? The Avar Lon Me'alma, that they passed from the world. Not offspring of Adam who removed them from the world. Adam removed them from the world. V'garim Mosa l'kulhu, and he caused death to everybody. So that's a statement of Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Abba made a statement basically, and the statement seemed to be from Adam, generations after Adam, everybody was called sons of Adam. And then after Noach, everybody's called son of Noah. Simple, straightforward statement, right?
We keep doing it today.
Yeah, well, the Israelis call each other that. There's Ben Adam.
When there is a problem and I arrive home and the kid did something wrong, my wife says, "Look what your son has done." But when something good happens, says, "Look at what my son did." It's a way of a very clear distinction. Is it good?
Very good. Okay, depends upon the perception.
Yeah, exactly. Well, everything is perception, right?
Right. Okay, so but now we have Rabbi Yossi coming. And here the statement from Rabbi Abba. He's going to have a difficulty with this statement. It's quite a clear difficulty for anybody who learns the verses. He's going to jump on Rabbi Abba. Some Arle Rabbi Yossi says to him, if that's so, it writes after, Vayered Hashem li'arot et ha'ir, and Hashem went down to see the city, ve'et ha'migdal, and the tower asher banu b'nei ha'adam, which built who? Bnei Adam. This is after Noah. Wait a minute. Said that sounds really nice. After Noah, everybody should be. And really, we are. I remember even when before I was religious in yeshiva, I was like, isn't everybody really a descendant of Noah? Everybody in the whole world should be a descendant of Noah, right? Right. We should all be called generations of Noah, right? But we see what happened here. by the Tower of Babel, Hashem came down and he wanted to see what the sons of Adam built. So, doesn't make sense according to your formula, Rabbi Abba. Should be sons of Noah. Right? B'nei Adam Kasiv, he says it writes sons of Adam. Doesn't write sons of Noah. So how do you answer that? It's a nice problem, right? So of course Rabbi Abba, he's already got something up his sleeve, doesn't he? What do you think? What are you thinking?
No, of course.
Oh, I was thinking that we call B'nai Noach, the Noahites, that
Right,
versus we're all B'nai Adam, but anyway, just.
that's exactly right.
Is this thing going? Okay. No, it seems like it's, I don't even know if it's going. Okay. Yes, it's interesting.
They keep 7 laws and they're sons of Noah.
Very good. So this is, I think, I had that in mind when I was reading this, okay? And there's a space there where you can fit it, okay, for sure. Because we are sure Rabbi Abba knew about this verse, right? He made his big statement. He came out with the yeshiva, he came out and he said, I got a chiddush. And he shared with everybody this novel idea. Sons of Adam, sons of Noah, and everybody, and there's a simple question. Just look at the verse as after the Tower of Babel about mentioned sons of man there. So he has to have an answer. Amar le. So he says to him, begin to Adam. I says here the chata or the chata, because that man sinned. Kamei mare, he sinned before his master, and they did like his deeds. I'm re-looking at the explanation here, the commentary. They did like him. L'chein nikraim al shemo. That's why they're called on his name. In other words, I think you would probably be able to answer the question the same thing. Is what's the inyan? What's the topic? What's the matter of talking about? It's talking about Tower of Babel. Were they doing something good?
No.
No. So you kind of we would answer simply, but they're going after that guy. They're not going after this guy. They're going after that guy. Since you know what we call a bar mitzvah. Somebody sits another kosher.
Oh, my
Looking for a silver Toyota Camry.
Mine's
Last
off.
seen on South Braeswood.
And a gold Chevrolet.
Okay, there we go.
It's a which,
Look out for gold Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me just see something here. No, it doesn't work that
Well, they're only saying it because they're doing a sin, not because there's a son of Adam.
Yeah, but it seems Rabbi Abba came out with just a general statement. And Rabbi Abba's answer, how is it answering the question?
When the sun is good, all the time.
Okay, let's see, maybe he continues, because so far, I see an answer. What? Begin to Adam chata kamei mare. So look what it says next. Tav le delo ibrei. It's better that he was not created. V'lo yichtov alei haikra. And then it shouldn't be written about him this verse. So very, how do they translate it?
Here? Almost the same.
Because Adam was sitting in the presence of his Lord.
Better shouldn't be created.
Better for
Better for
him,
He had never been created, so that this verse would not have been written.
period. So that's part of the question.
Right.
Okay?
And then, but come and see what is written. That's not my
you
question.
too.
That's
Well, we're
you.
all
Amber
connected.
alert.
I just I don't know how to stop it. Okay, got it.
But come and see what is written and why a son delights a father.
Okay. All right. So he's gonna lay it out. First thing he lays out is because of Adam's sin, and they also acted like Adam. What does that mean? They acted like Adam. Does that mean literally they acted like Adam?
No, there's similarities.
They're building a tower, and these guys were.
Same
This
ego.
guy he ate from a tree of knowledge of good and evil, and they built a tower.
But it's still both going against Hashem.
So I would look at it like that simply for now. You know, they went against God's will, but were they really? Was there a command not to build a tower?
It wasn't the building of the tower, it was what they
Bunch
did.
the people.
Well, what was it?
Maybe it was
The
their
machlokas that were
desire
present.
to be like Hashem to the degree that Hashem wasn't prepared for and didn't want.
Huh?
I don't want any competition up
No,
here.
like,
Yeah.
right? It's-
No, it's like what you said. The
okay.
serpent said, you know why God doesn't want you to eat from that tree is because you'll be in competition.
Mhm.
He has, apples, and he doesn't want you selling apples, right? You're gonna be stick with the Mac, the regular, no, the PC. He has PCs and Macs. You just do PC. He doesn't want you also involved in apples, okay?
He wants you to be consistent.
Competition doesn't want. That's what the serpent said.
Right.
Look, apparently the Tower of Babel was involved in that because they wanted to go up either wage war against God, control the weather,
Who was
Or
Guyver?
see-
They thought
or just go up there and just be a partner, hang out,
Right.
Right.
and just hang out with God. Keep them in check. They wanted to make sure there wasn't going to be another flood. Okay,
Mhm.
that was the whole purpose.
Really?
The Ishbitzer, I'm still looking for it. Somebody told me in
Yeah.
Israel, as the Ishbitzer Rebbe said that it was a rocket ship.
The Tower of Babel.
Yeah, I'm still looking for that. I've been looking for it.
Rocket ship.
Rocket
Yes.
ship.
Rocket ship, because why would you go to a valley and build a tower? If you wanted to reach Shemayim, heaven, why would you go to a valley? You'd go to a mountaintop, where
go to
at
Mount
least you
Everest.
got some headway,
Right.
wouldn't you? Made sense?
That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
Why don't you go to a mountain and build it? Why do you go in a valley?
because it's
Unless you
an
wanted to
irregular,
Maybe
it's
because
an
it's
irregular
flat.
base.
Could be.
Yeah.
That's a
Flat
smart idea,
state.
probably
Flat
according to
base.
simple explanation.
What did you say?
But his explanation was it was something else.
Something-
But like I say, I didn't see it inside. Somebody heard from somebody authoritative, and they wrote a whole book about it. But in any case, I need to see it inside still. Okay? And anyways, so in any case, though, it was a rebellion. It was a rebellion.
Yeah.
Okay? I didn't know that Adam's whole eating from the tree of knowledge was a form of rebellion.
No.
He just didn't do what he was told to do.
That's a rebellion.
But that's rebellion.
Is that really called a rebellion?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
the sense
he's
of
a
the
naughty
word.
child.
There's two types of sins. It's
But he
true.
didn't really even do that. He just was trying to prevent his half from not touching it, which he added words
All
to.
the problems, one of the classes we are going to do, I've got a schedule, is we're going to do a 4-part series of Garden of Eden. And here we're going to touch upon it a little bit. Because we got to come to the bottom of it. And there's so many texts. It's more, my Rosh Yeshiva once was going to go ahead and start to do lectures on it. When he would teach every day, he'd give like a half hour, and he said, no, it's too vast. The material is just way too much to go ahead and study. It is big. But we'll find some things that can maybe hopefully give us some clarity. We're going to get a little clarity today, okay, on some stuff. It's quite wild the way it answers some questions I always had. All right. So Rabbi Abba is continuing in his answer, and of course he's going to a little drushy answer, okay? So he says, it's better that Adam was not created. Don't create man. Better than not create him, and then you don't have to write this verse in order to put him down. It's kind of a really extreme statement, okay? But we always say that if a man doesn't learn L'Shem Shemayim, it's better that he was never created, right? If a person doesn't follow Torah commandments, it's better, if a man sins, it's better he wasn't created. There is a statement like that in many places in the Talmud.
Yeah,
Okay.
It kind of conflicts the statement that you can't go higher if you didn't sin.
We all know that, but there's this office in the huge corporation of God that always wants to put in its 2 cents and say, we told you so, better not to have created. We weren't for this plan ever. There's always, he created those guys. He created those guys, and he knows what they're going to say, and they're always there, and they're always saying it. Okay? Just, in any case. So, Eila Tachazi. Alright, they sinned, Adam sinned like them, but it still doesn't answer the question, so Tachazi, Kasiv, he's going to answer the question, I hope. Tachazi, come and see. Rather, come and see. It writes in Mishlei, Ben Hacham Yismach Av. Right, the son of a wise man, the father is happy. That's why. Kad Baratav, when the son is good. Kol B'nei Alma Dachrin le la'avui latav. So all the people of the world will mention him to his father for good. Is that how it writes?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, here it says, they'll speak well of the father if the son is good.
Mhm.
So they'll say,
It's the father's fault.
No,
Oh.
no.
right, there he goes. There's he right. Son of Abraham. Right? That's a real Ben Abraham. We know Abraham. Abraham's a good guy. And his sons, that's the sons of Abraham. Right? You'll say it like that because it's for a praise. Right? So we mentioned, if the son is smart, it's a praise for the father. V'kadi hubish, when he's bad. Kulo dachrin le'lavoy levish. So then they mention his father for bad. The gangster. Son of a gangster. Right?
Yeah, they could do it then.
Adam, so how do we explain that into here? That is yours. Adam begin to choto. Adam, since that he sinned, and he went over the commandment of the Lord. Kad asu inun demardu b'mareo. So when these people come, the people of the Tower of Babel, when they come, one second. When they come, wait a minute. So what does it write? Asher banu b'nei ha'adam. That God is going to come down and see that which the sons of Adam built. Right? So when these children of the Dora of Laga, the generation of the dispersal that rebelled against the Kodesh Baruch Hu, it writes also in them Adam. In other words, if the son is bad, if the sons are bad, so we say, that's because of the father. If the sons are good, we blame it on the father. Son is bad, blame it on the father. Son is good, blame it on the father. Can't win either way.
Either way.
Why? That's the big thing. Okay?
That's life.
Right? Oh, but it's much bigger than that. It's much deeper. Okay? First of all, someone turn on the air. Does anybody know how to operate the air? I hope it's working.
Stuffy in here.
Lower the thirst.
Yeah, if you know how to do that. You know how to turn the dial? Straight back.
So it's really a reflection on God, because he's the ultimate father, and it's a spit in the face.
And we're his children. And we
That's an
need to
interesting
misbehave.
one. Here, let me help them. You see it?
He's got it, it's on.
But it's not
He
all.
did it.
Oh, it's broken. Okay, fine.
Broken.
Is it cooler out there? Or is everybody comfortable? It's just me
No,
going
it's
like-
like
No, that's
70
fresh
degrees
air
out.
sounds better.
It's like
Open the
70
door.
degrees out.
It's nice out. It's not-
Yeah, it is
Very
nice.
nice.
Now, how do we put something there?
I'll
that
put a
opens?
chair here.
Okay,
That's good,
thanks.
yeah, that's good. We need to cross ventilation.
Yeah.
So happen to have a chair.
Perfect,
We have a
thank you.
chair.
Good.
I got something
So is that-
going,
No, it's not working. They've been trying to fix it for 2 weeks.
but I turned the other one over there, I don't know if it'll keep.
No, we
It
opened
won't,
the door.
it won't, but next time we'll
But the
know.
door is open, so.
Yeah,
Next
the
time
door-
I'll be
last time-
smarter,
I'm
and next time any of
sorry.
you remind me to make sure we check it first, otherwise we'll learn out
We'll
there.
just open the
Okay.
door
Okay?
beforehand.
It's okay, it's good.
All right. So when the people of the Dora of Laga, of the generation of the flood, they rebelled against God, so it writes in them that they're called sons of Adam, which means Benoi de Adam Kadma, that they're sons of the first man who rebelled against his master and he transgressed on his command. Right? And they are his children, they are the children of Adam Arishon. Shemarad ba'Kodesh Baruch Hu, they rebelled against his Kodesh Baruch Hu and they went on over the mitzvah, his commandment. Therefore, Chata'u Karam Shikam He Maradu ba'Kodesh Baruch Hu. In other words, here he wants to say in the commentary that his sin, Adam's sin, caused that they also rebelled against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Adam's influence, somehow, it's kind of strange, but he's going to kind of explain it, I think, in the next page or here. Oh no, I'm sorry, I skipped a little bit.
It's okay.
We speak about this way. When the son is good, so we say, all the people of the world will mention him, mention his father for good. Why? That a man actually draws a neshama to his son, to his child, in the time of the holada. Holada literally means giving birth.
No, I didn't know that.
But we really know that it happens in a much earlier stage. That the man, what he thinks about, that's why we say a man has to mikadesh himself, he has to sanctify himself in the time of relations, because he is going to draw a soul, a neshama, a certain type of neshama, to that child. But here it mentions haholada, which you're really, it could be that the beginning, that the man's portion of the holada, of the birth, which is that. When really everything goes according to the deeds of the father, and according to his neshama, the neshama of the father. Therefore, he causes that his son would be good. If the father is good, he's got a neshama. He does good deeds. So he draws to his son, his child, from his own neshama. Okay? Which is coming from a good source. But when he's bad, when the son would be evil, God forbid, so then everybody mentions it according to his father for evil. Right? That if the father is blemished, he actually draws a blemished neshama to his son, and by way of this, he causes that the evil inclination of his son will overpower him, and the person will have problems his whole life. There's something that we've studied before, that before a soul comes into this world, it has to be dressed in something called a lavush, or a garment. Mm-hmm. Every soul needs to be dressed in a garment, a spiritual garment, before they get dressed in a body. This spiritual garment is made at the time of conception, and it has influenced the rest of his life. He can cleanse it, he can enhance it, or he can detract it. He can cause it to become eroded. Okay? And therefore, if you won't have his lavush, at the end of this person's life, this poor person, who managed to do such deeds where his garment, his neshama garment, would erode, he's called a naked soul. A naked soul is somebody who Hashem should protect us all from such a circumstance like this. Because a naked soul, really, he gets what's called kafakela. Kafakela means, they literally will translate it as the slingshot. The slingshot is a type of consequence that a person gets where they're not necessarily allowed to move on in their existence of their process. They're in a limbo. It's a terrible limbo. Basically what they did, and then the language it is described in, is that this person, this naked soul, is exposed to the negative elements, which they usually will call demons, who will then proceed to basically play ping pong with him and use the world as the court. In other words, they slam him around, and it's not pain, and it's not pleasant. It's supposed to be quite painful. This knowledge I have from Rabbi Yehuda Fataya, who wrote a book called The Spirits Speak. Aruchot V'Saprot. He lived in the turn of the 19th century. He went around doing all kinds of exorcisms to a lot of possessed Jewish people. Exorcisms. Exercise. No, he opened up a gym. Okay. So he performed exorcisms, and he interviewed these souls before he did them, and he wanted to find out what happens. And of course he knew the knowledge, but he wanted to know more firsthand, and he wrote it down. He looked at a log. In a log, on this date and this date, I dealt with this boy, and this boy had this neshama, and the neshama did this and this and this, and this is what he had, and then these naked souls. These naked souls have nowhere to go because they can't move on in their existence. And basically, what it means by them getting like slammed around by demons, what it means is they're exposed to their own negative actions. The negative actions that they did in this world, they're not protected from in any way. They're completely exposed to their own negativity. We say when a person does a mitzvah, he creates a malach, a positive angel. That is a melich yoshar, that is a advocate for him in heaven. And when, God forbid, a person does an avera, a sin, he creates a negative angel. So here, with his actions, he created negative forces. And now, because he doesn't have his garment, he's called a naked soul, he's exposed to his negative entities that he created. So therefore they slam him around, And hopefully, and his only rest is to go into a body. That's the only thing that can give him any menuchas nefesh. Okay? We don't have these anymore, according to most traditions, even though there's been reported that there are some cases that do pop up.
What
We've
kind
been told it doesn't happen because
What cases? Exorcism?
cases of exorcism. Now we might call it schizophrenia. Okay?
Oh.
But you can't say every schizophrenic is a possessed person.
According to the movie.
But I wouldn't, there was a movie, I showed my father-in-law, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is based on a true
It's a true
story.
story with Anthony
She
Hopkins.
died.
Yeah.
Where the girl died at the end because the
Wow.
priest told her to go off the drugs, and she died as a result.
And she killed herself?
And then they put the priest on trial for it because he told her to go off the drugs, being the person that he was, and in such an authoritative position, and she listened to him. So in any case,
Oh, that's a true story.
we don't say that everybody, we don't know. But the reality is, this is what we have in our tradition, a naked soul.
But wait, how does all this soul stuff work for either people that are heirs or like children that are adopted at birth, or I mean like
If you're a Jew, you get a soul. That soul comes in, it borrows a coat on the way down from the lower Garden of Eden and comes down into the body.
but you mean like lucky people in those kind of
That's conversion.
circumstances would get, they're not born with it, they'll get it at
They get it. When the person goes into the mikvah,
when they
Boom.
come out.
boom. When they come out, boom.
They have an extra coat.
They get the soul.
Yeah?
They get the soul. Okay? It has to be taken care of very well, right? That's why we're so strict about conversions. You can't just take it and throw it in the mud. You can't go celebrate your conversion and go out and have a double cheeseburger. Doesn't work. It's not good. Right? Let's go celebrate our conversion at Luby's. Okay? Go to Luby's. Doesn't work. It's not good. Anyways, the point here is there's a garment that envelopes the soul before it comes down. It becomes enhanced through a person's mitzvot, through when he does positive actions, and it becomes detracted if a person does negative actions. Too many negatives, it erodes, creates holes in his aura, so to speak. It's not an aura, but in his garment.
But can I ask?
Yeah.
The first garment was Adam and Eve. I mean, they didn't know that they needed garments. They were naked until they did from the...
We're going to get to that in the next page. I like the direction you're on. We're going to get to it real soon. The point here is the father massively influences the child. So the people of the Tower of Babel were massively influenced because of Adam. Okay? To throw something which I'm sure maybe I've shared with you before, for sure, I think I have. This is really a little bit off topic. I didn't want to do that. But it's known that Adam separated from his wife for 130 years.
What?
He separated after Cain killed Abel. He separated
They
from
got
his wife.
divorced, huh?
Yeah, they got a divorce. They had lawyers, and it was really nasty. It was so nasty. That divorce was so
What did
nasty.
they get? Where'd she get a house?
She got the garden.
She
He was at a pool.
He got the garden.
He got the pool.
Oh,
Okay. In any case, the point here was, since he separated, so every single night in those 130 years, he created hybrids. Okay? Because of spilling seed, that action created a hybrid form of spirit. That these exact hybrids really came and reincarnated. That set of souls that he created those 130 years came back and reincarnated in the tower. First they were in the generation of the flood, the exact same souls, now in a body. Then, of course, Hashem wiped them out. And the exact same souls came back in the people of the Tower of Babel. So that really is the real deep story. Why they are called B'nai Ha'adam. The people of the Tower of Babel were literally the sons of man because they came from that action that he did after he separated from his wife in the Garden of Eden. There were two, we call ladies of the night, who would come with cerveza and tequila and have, and have a party. Really, it was in his mind. But in any case, it doesn't matter. The situation is, there were things that were created, entities that were created, that were reincarnated and reincarnated again into the Tower of Babel. In any case, the idea really is what the Father does influences the Son, and it starts way, 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 way back in the time of conception. Okay? Listen, I call it the planet of the oppressed because you know something? Nobody knows how to really have, the fathers really don't know what to think in the act. Okay?
So
Needs to be taught.
What if you were born and your father wasn't religious?
Hello!
Hey.
It doesn't matter?
Welcome to planet of the oppressed.
Just a second.
This is the planet of the oppressed, except for Jane's dad and mom. They were righteous. Okay? The point here is,
It's not a matter of religious or not religious. It's a matter of your thoughts. There should be
yeah.
on the highest level.
So chances are, if you're religious, the thoughts will be higher, as opposed to being not religious and thinking about
You don't have to be
baseball,
religious.
football, the Spurs,
Isn't
beer.
that crazy? Like,
If you're
think
thinking about
that,
that, you're
people are told to
right.
think,
You're a bad guy.
right?
That's not
You're
good.
bad.
Guys are told to think about baseball or like
No.
basic
That's
things.
disgusting.
No, but
Another class, another topic, let's move on. Discussion over. Discussion over, we're saving it for later time. Way later, and a different crowd entirely. The men need to be taught separately from the women, we're not going more. Weiter.
no, but this is like there's discussed though. There's
That's not
also the
marriage.
next thing.
No,
that
no,
if it weren't for the evil impulse, that there wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on.
Right, if it weren't for that Jinx or Rabbi, there wouldn't be people at all.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
let's go.
let's go on.
Let's
Okay?
go on.
All right, so,
Are we on 349?
I don't know,
Yes, yes.
because
Yeah,
I'm.
29.
So because that's why the generation of the Tower of Babel was called Bnei Adam, okay? Because he rebelled against his master and transgressed, so therefore them too. Ubegine kach ele toldot Noach, and that's why this parsha begins with these are the generations of Noach, and it doesn't say and these. Because why? Because ele, these are the generations of Noach. V'lo kadmai, not before. Not the Bnei Adam. Bnei Adam is another set of souls. We're talking about a different set of souls here. Okay? Because Noach was a righteous guy.
Yes.
Ela dinafku va'alu go teva. They went out and they went inside the ark, which means the ark is a huge concept. Which means we're going to make sure that we're going to carry on the world. We're all on a mission together, and we care about the world, and we're going to build the world. Completely different mental framework. Okay? Vapiku toldin le'alma, and they brought out real progeny in the world. Okay? Toldos. They brought out generations to the world. V'lo toldos adam, not the generations of man. Okay? Not the offspring of man. The nafak mikin Eden, that he went out from the Garden of Eden. V'lo apiku on mitaman. And he went out from the, how does it translate? He went out from the, he emerged from the Garden of Eden. That's a key thing. Without generating them from there. In other words, here you just have a little bit of a fact, in case you might have ever had the question. Was Cain and Abel born in the Garden of Eden or outside?
No, outside.
Outside. Zohar says
Outside.
clearly outside.
Right.
They were born outside the Garden.
Because they were banished.
Okay, but you don't know. A lot of things went on in the Garden of Eden that we're going to see right now. Tachazi, come and see. Ilu apik Adam told us mikinsa de Adam. If Adam was able to go ahead and bring out offspring from the Garden of Eden, right? Which means what? The commentary here says, the Mitoch Midrash, what?
Since they would have never been.
They would have never been destroyed. But here he says something interesting that you have to really get a little understanding of.
Immortal.
Yes. Which means really what happened, he's explaining it here. Ilu hayadam arishon, if Adam Arishon would have waited to have relations with his wife until Shabbat, that then all of the worlds would go up and be included in what we call Ima Ila'ah, which is the cosmic mother. V'haya mamshich haneshamot lebanav, and he would be able to draw down souls to his children from this unbelievable lofty place in the highest chambers, celestial palaces called Abba and Ima. which are the aspect of the tree of life. He would have been able to draw down neshamas from a very high place. Okay? If he would have waited. Don't forget, Shabbat, what happens? We have in our tradition, for those who follow the Kabbalah, there are 4 worlds. And Shabbat, it's different. 6 days of the week, we climb the worlds. Okay? We try to make ourselves to perceive and reach up. On Shabbat, everything folds up. It's an automatic. It's like you're in the automatic elevator. It's boom. Everything folds into Atzilut. Okay? It's a completely different arrangement that happens on Shabbat. Okay? So in Shabbat, since everything folds up, so therefore a person has so much connection to what we call Shabbat, the Eitz Chaim. Actually, it's referred to the Eitz Chaim, the tree of life. Because why? You're connected to the source. Okay? Va'az hayam mevatel hara. So then what would happen? What? If he would have waited to couple with Eve, so then it would have been nullified the evil from the Eitz Adas. V'haya kulo tov. The Eitz Adas was in a process of being fixed. And then, if he would have waited till Shabbat, so then it would have been completely fixed. And then it would the generations after him would never be destroyed. Is that what it said in English? They would never die or never be destroyed.
Yeah.
Never be destroyed.
Never be destroyed. And the moon would never be darkened, which is a strange one. And I have a problem with this all along. Okay? Because really we know what happened. Really, if you trace the elements that happened in the garden in the 6 days of creation, the moon shrunk on Wednesday. This event happened on Friday.
And had a bigger ego.
Wait a minute. Hello, the moon shrunk on Wednesday. The whole incident of the Garden of Eden happened on Friday. The moon was already small. What, Adam would have waited and the moon would have gotten fixed?
The moon is a Shekhinah, so I don't know.
But then,
Darkened.
darkened,
Darkened,
that's
it can't be
different.
Shekhinah if it darkened.
Well,
Which means it would have been full all the time.
no, it would
But
mean that it
full
would
doesn't mean it
still,
was
it would
big.
mean
Ah,
that
you're
it
right.
would still
What?
be
That's a good
radiating
point.
light.
What did you say?
That's a good point.
What did you say?
It doesn't mean big or small.
Right, but it's,
mean
but
it's
also
dark
the
or
moon,
light?
wait, no, but it's,
Where it would be
no, but
light.
you're right, because it's, what happened was it stopped radiating light of its own, so that's what darkened is,
But
so it's
the moon is a
smaller.
reflector. The Shekhinah is a reflection of
Right,
God.
but the moon is
So it says here-
because it was punished.
So the commentator here says the light of the Shekhinah that's symbolized by the moon would not have diminished. It wouldn't have been diminished. Okay, here he says here, "V'lo haya nechshach or halavana le'olam," which really means what happened is that there will be such a situation of completion
There may be
in creation.
And therein lies the issue of diminish. Maybe it was never diminished in size. It was diminished because of the lack of light.
Yes,
That's what she
or
said.
reflective light, lack of light.
Right.
It is
doesn't
it
have
is
light
the
of its
light
own.
that diminished.
It seems to
not,
be- it-
not the size.
I agree.
Right, no, it's not physical
Right,
size.
but,
Interesting
So
point that we have to awaken to. Okay?
Yeah,
because people usually always think, oh, it shrunk.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily
No.
so.
Scientists will look
light.
at this and say, "Are you kidding me? You expect me to believe that the moon just decided to shrink?" Okay, now, I mean, that could be a point that is counter.
So something
to-
covered it.
No,
Listen,
no, it's just
whatever you want to call
Cloud
it,
cover.
whatever you want to call it, in the end, it's
Way
supposed to
the
be, in the end of days, it's supposed to be that the light of the moon will be like the light of the sun.
Right.
Right.
Bigger, smaller, it'll have its own light, it'll be radiant, because God did say He created 2 great luminaries. There was a kitrug, there was this statement that was said on Wednesday, which caused the moon to be diminished, whatever you want to call it. Okay?
I think the light diminished.
Well, it became reflective light.
It had to because
But
it's
it's
different.
reflective light.
Whatever it is, it's not
excuse me for
the
not-
way it was supposed to be.
It says it in Bereshit itself, or it says it like in
The
Midrash?
language of the Bereshit says, and
That it-
God said that let there be, He created the Ma'orot Gedolim.
No, the other part,
Which other part?
that the moon would be smaller. or the moon
It
would
said,
have,
no, it
would
said,
be diminished,
it
is that
said,
in the
or,
Midrash?
it's, well,
Or it's
it
in
uses
the-
it from the verses. The verses said,
Okay.
the great light and the small light. Let there be two great luminaries. The
Uh-huh.
great light and the small light. Wait a minute, if there are two great luminaries, they're equal. That implies equal. And then why does the next verse say the great one and the small one? And the only way to explain that is the
But
Midrash.
that- There you go.
Okay? The only way to explain it, because the first verse implied they're equal, and the second verse implies they're not equal. So therefore we have what's called the whole tradition,
Right.
you know, in all of the, you know, going down from that there was a kitrut, there was this prosecution, and this moon got smaller.
Okay,
You want to
But
show
the thing
me?
is, like-
Pass
the
me a
moon-
Chumash
but-
up there. Let's look
But
at
the
the late
moon
language.
got
But that's what
smaller. I think, you know, the Zohar makes the point to clarify all the esoteric stuff. And here, the esoteric part of this statement is the idea of reduction. But the reduction, we're speaking now in a more philosophical way. It's not a reduction in size, it's a
Fine.
reduction in
Agree.
energy.
Right, but the thing is,
It's-
Agree.
okay, so if you have, let's say you have a conflict between something written in Midrash versus in the Zohar,
Yeah.
which do you go by? Or you have to find a way to come,
It's-
to have the two.
This is like
You
Midrash,
often
so
have-
it's like another
I mean,
Midrash
you
which
often have
conflicts.
Midrashim that conflict.
I know that.
That's why
I
it's
know.
called the
I know,
enlightenment.
I know where you're holding, and I
Okay.
totally hear it,
The
okay?
point of
It's
enlightenment.
very hard to deal with. You have to understand them, you have to ma'ayin, and you have to put them all together, and it's a lot of work.
That's what the Midrash.
There's a way to do it, there's a lot of commentaries who do put them together and show you how they all fit, but you're right, a lot of them are just totally outright conflicting, and it's very hard to put them together, okay? It requires
Right,
a lot of study, okay?
okay.
So, now let me just go to where it says it, just give me a second here. Just to find the language, because it's nice to see the language, okay? Oh, it doesn't have it here. That's weird. It says here. Chaser Vav, Amar Maras, Shravi, where's the rest of it? I don't see it. Abdul Ben Hayom, Shanim, Amoras Hagidol, here. Shavim Nivrau, Nisma'ata Halavana. It doesn't say how it became reduced, it just says reduced.
Right, but that's.
They were equal, and the moon became reduced because it said it's impossible to have two kings sharing one
But
crown.
wait, where is that? That's not
Wasn't
in the
it the
text.
moon?
It's a Gemara, it's a
That's-
Talmud.
Okay,
It's in the
right, it's not
Talmud
in the
before.
text itself.
Oh, no.
That's-
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Okay, it's in from a
Can't give
Gemara?
you, it's from a
Gemara.
Gemara. It's a Gemara. It's a Gemara book. Okay? It's a big, huge Indian, believe me. It's one of the most mysterious cataclysmic events in history because Israel is compared to the moon, and we want the, and the moon waxes and wanes. It's Mitchadesh. We go a lot of our calendars after the moon. We're compared to the moon in many ways, right?
Okay.
And we want that there should be, that the light of the moon should be like the light of the sun, as it should be. Okay, so in any case, what happened was, I forgot where it was. Okay, if Adam gave birth in the Garden of Eden, so then they would never be able to go out. In other words, they would never be destroyed, the generations, and the moon would never get dark. Okay, everybody would live forever. Even the upper angels, the cosmic angels, the angels on high, would not be able to exist before them because of the great light and the splendor and the wisdom. Like what it says, V'tzelem Elokim bara'uto, in the image of God He created it.
That's
But-
what it was meant to be.
We come from the throne of glory, a place way higher than the angels, way higher. So but since He caused Kevan de Garam Chata, since He caused the death, the sin, and He went out from the Garden of Eden, Va'avad toldot labar, and He made generations, offspring outside the Garden of Eden. Lo is kaimu ba'alma, so that they would not exist in the world. and then they would not be even proper. Notice how it has two languages here. They would not exist in the world, which means they wouldn't live forever. Right? Because why? He says here in the commentary, because the klipa would have a grip on them. The external forces, what we call the shells, the husks, would have a grip on it, that from them is caused death. And they wouldn't be offspring that would be proper. Okay?
That's another interesting.
Okay, so now comes Chizkiah, Rabbi Chizkiah. Okay, he understands from Rabbi Abba. So do we answer the question?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Okay? Comes Rabbi Chizkiah. Okay? We'll go a little bit faster here. Let's see if I can do this. Rabbi Chizkiah said, how could they have generated offspring there? In other words, how could they have generated offspring in the Garden of Eden? For if the evil impulse had not been drawn towards him, enticing him to sin, he would have existed alone in the world, generating no offspring. There was a great passage in the Talmud where they prayed for the evil inclination of idolatry to be handed over to them. Baruch Hashem, they prayed, they fasted, it was handed over, they killed it. And then they prayed for the evil inclination of promiscuity, of znus, to be delivered to them. And it was delivered to them, but then after 3 days, they held it prisoner to decide while they were debating what to do with it, to kill it or not. And then the farmers came and said, what? Our chickens aren't laying eggs.
Uh-oh.
In other words, you need it. You're not going to have offspring without it. So that's what Rabbi Chizkiah is saying. What are you talking about? You can't say that, oh, it would have been just so pure and holy, no evil inclination if they were created in the Garden of Eden. No. It seems like what he's saying, right?
Yeah, so that's what the commentaries in 73 said.
Okay. Right? No evil inclination means no children. In other words, you need it for children. It's weird because Adam Arishon, well, I think I heard recently, because I always had a problem. The Ari says the problem with the sin of Eitz Hadas Tovarah, the problem with the sin of eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, was that Adam had relations with his wife too early. And that really wasn't the etzem, the essential sin. The essential sin was they ate from the tree. But that caused him to have relations with Eve in the Garden of Eden. Yeah.
After eating the apple?
But they were
Yes.
there for a
Not an
day.
apple. Never an apple.
Oh.
There's a
Banana?
concept
Yeah, with Michelangelo.
that we try to have
What did he
holy,
eat, a
like, holy
banana?
relations.
And it could be a
Yeah.
fig.
So maybe that's
It
the
could've
thing,
been
like if
hay.
they had waited, that would have been the tikkun, that there would have been understanding how to have holy relations versus,
I like that. That's
Versus-
awesome.
So what did he?
Awesome.
then it wouldn't have been a sin anymore.
Yes.
Wouldn't need
It's
to
not a
have
sin.
it be,
The
I
Goyim
know
think
we
it's a
don't,
sin.
but.
You'd
but
be able
it's
to
saying,
use it in
okay,
the right
it's
way.
not a sin, but it's
Listen,
saying right
let's-
here, it's coming from the
Let's go.
evil,
I have a
impulse,
problem
and
with
that's
that.
what I have a problem with too.
Because that's not Jewish.
Right, well, that's my opinion too, it doesn't. say-
Let's read on because then we'll, okay. Similarly, he goes on to say, if Israel had not sinned at the golden calf,
Oh.
drawing to themselves the evil impulse, they would never have generated offspring, and no other generations would have come to the world. Because of the sin at Mount Sinai, we also became free of the evil of angel of death. We became free of death and servitude of nations. And apparently, according to him, what he's saying is there would have been such a high level at the Garden of Eden. Also, at Mount Sinai. After the Mount Sinai experience, there would have been such a high level of this aloneness that they would have had no desire to have children if they didn't do the sin of the golden
Wait, it's a
calf
mitzvah.
to bring upon them mitzvah shmitzvah.
God,
I got a lot of mitzvahs that we can see.
this doesn't make sense.
Uh-huh.
Right.
You
Remember
know?
God gave us
I-
the Har Sinai, this does
How
not
about-
make sense.
Let's move.
Come on.
I hear what you're
I agree.
saying, okay? Let me see what it says here, okay?
I'm sorry.
No,
So I'm going to read you the commentary here,
Okay.
okay?
no, but it's, okay, sorry, read the
Go ahead.
comment.
Right? So, Rabbi, So from the words of Rabbi Abba, that a man was able to go ahead and give generations in the Garden of Eden with physical bodies, and then to bring him out, all right, and then he would be able to bring him out from the Garden of Eden when he left the Garden of Eden. Right? In other words, we're talking about non-physical bodies versus physical bodies. Therefore, he asked from him, how is it possible to make toldot? How is it possible to give birth, to generate to people, to have offspring with physical bodies in the Garden of Eden? It's a place which is completely spiritual. Behold, this thing is impossible. Right? But if it wasn't drawn to him, the evil inclination, because that he sinned, right? So then we say that the world he would be in his alone state. He wouldn't make offspring. Right? He would be established alone in the world. He wouldn't do it with physical bodies.
That's not correct.
This is what it says
I
here.
don't care.
Right? Wait a minute, this is what it says. Below, if it wasn't drawn to him, the evil inclination. Right? One second, it's not reading straight. It kayem ihu ba'alma bilchodoi. He would be alone in the world. And he would not give birth to offspring with physical bodies. He would mekayem the mitzvah of Puravuvu in a different way. Yes, the mitzvah of Puravuvu. It would be mekayem in hamshachat neshamat miyichud zun. He would draw down souls, but they wouldn't be in physical bodies.
Right.
This is what he says. Just like what happened by the sin of the golden calf. Also like this. Let me just finish. Right? If they didn't sin by this calf, that by way of that they drew upon them the Yetzer Hara, because they were free from the Yetzer Hara. They reached the level of Sinai before, like Adam before the sin. So then they also would not give birth to physical bodies, and they would not there would never be any more generations. This is what the Zohar says. Right?
Rabbi, let's go back to the issue of aloneness.
Yeah.
If they're at such a high level, when you're at that high level, you're never alone. You're totally connected.
You're connected to God for sure. We're talking about alone, meaning, hey, there's a woman over there.
You cannot be at that level.
Can I buy a drink?
That's come on, that's just. You cannot be at that level.
Not just.
Wait. You cannot be at that. Forget that. Wait a second. When you're at a high level like that, on that level, there is so much love of fellow human beings. There's only good. There's only elevating the next one. Of course, you don't keep it to yourself. That's not the way God wants it. That's not what we're taught.
We're not saying that.
But that's alone. He's alone. But no.
No, alone meaning like he's got such a connection, a spiritual connection.
Sure, and it's shared.
That he doesn't feel, and he shared, but he won't do the mitzvah of Puravu to make a physical body. He'll do a Puravu in a spiritual way. He'll join with his wife, he'll gaze into her eyes, and she'll gaze into his, and they'll gaze at each other, and through the gazing we will produce Neshamas with our mind. Want to see me do it again? Okay? So, in other words, it would have been a completely spiritual kind of mitzvah.
And that's why it happens in heaven.
But he's saying it would not generate physical bodies.
How did Moshe's sister end up having leprosy?
Miriam?
Because she just spread one rumor. Moshe is not with his wife. He's not doing his home duties. But he was at a state so elevated that he doesn't have the need for the physical.
It's not his need. It's getting explained later.
Okay, fine. Okay, so how can you say that Adam in the Garden of Eden was able to go ahead and give birth to physical forms? It's not possible. That's what he says. He's saying it's not possible that Adam in the Garden of Eden could have given birth to physical forms. Period. Okay? So he replied, if Adam had not sinned, he would not have generated offspring like this. For now he generates only from the side of the evil impulse. In other words, had he not sinned, he would have brought down much higher souls from a much higher place.
So I'm sure if he had waited
But
till
now,
Shabbat,
after the sin, he only generates from the evil impulse. In other words, it goes down, down, down.
a question.
Yeah.
If he had waited till Shabbat and had relations with Chava on Shabbat,
Yes.
then what would have happened?
Sounds like what would have happened is he would have had relations and he would have corrected, fixed the entire world. Okay?
And would
Yeah,
they
Wait a
have-
minute. He would have been able to bring certain souls down, right?
From
For his
higher.
children that would have come from the Eitz Chaim directly, would have come from the Eitz Chaim. It would have been totally connected to the source. It would have been unbelievable spiritual giants.
Would they have been physical bodies also?
Doesn't say. That's the problem.
That's okay. I don't know.
Doesn't say.
But
Okay, it's
then there's the
beautiful.
belief that there were no physical bodies. They
In the
didn't
Garden
have
of
to-
Eden.
Right.
So what is he?
Because
So
like
what's
bodies
the
anyway
answer?
Then, right?
What?
That's another,
You could
that's,
have
right, that's
bodies.
another understanding of.
Of the
before
Garden of
the
Eden.
sin, right.
Yes, they were
didn't-
astral
right,
bodies. They
Right,
weren't physical.
Right.
right, so,
Like in heaven.
Exactly. So
Or whatever.
So he wouldn't have had a body.
no, it was an astral body. It wasn't a physical
You
body.
were soul. You
was a
weren't
light body.
If Adam had not sinned, he would not have generated offspring
That's
like
why-
this. For now he generates only from the side of the evil impulse, and since all human offspring derive from that side, they do not endure and are incapable of the other side. What does it mean, the other side? They cannot endure on the other holy side.
The holy
They
side.
can't handle it, too
Without the
holy.
body.
Can't handle it, too holy. They have a body, they can't handle a total astral world. It's just like, come on, man, this is
All this
the Lord.
conversation reflects
Okay.
that. Right.
Alternatively, they are incapable of enduring the other side, meaning the evil, the side of evil. That I don't understand how that fits. But if Adam had not sinned and not been banished from the Garden of Eden, he would have generated offspring from the side of the Holy Spirit, holy as supernal angels, enduring forever, corresponding above. Since he sinned and engendered children outside of the garden, and was unworthy of generating them from the garden, so they did not endure even long enough to take root in the world until Noach appeared and entered the ark. From the ark issued all the generations of the world, dispersing from there to all four directions of the world.
So it seems like the
It is
bodies
possible.
would just deteriorate because the neshama is
The way that
too
death
bright.
works, according to the Arizal, okay, so the way that death works, kind of, I heard the Shemi Shmuel quoted it in Parshat Shmini, I think, that it's Balos Klus, I forgot.
Well, that's on page 364, so you're gonna get.
I forgot. Wait a minute. He mentioned it. Anyways, I need to remind myself. The way that death works is tuma attaches itself to the body, which is like a lack of life energy, and it grows and it hangs and it hangs and it hangs until the person says, "I'm ready to go." Nobody leaves this world without that. They're accepted. But the reality is the situation becomes so uncomfortable with that they're willing. In other words, the tumor grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. This force, right, grows and grows, and that's how it works. In other words, the klipa overpowers, the shell overpowers, the husks overpower.
so this kind of tumor, is this a tumor that like mikvah could help, or is it something, it's something that the
This
red
is
heifer
the
could
tumor
help,
from
or
the
no?
from the Malach HaMaves. It's a tumor from the Malach HaMaves. It's a drop that just hangs out and will get and grow until the person says.
Is it possible that when we're talking about the neshama, that the translation of the word may be incorrect on calling it evil? It's
The
just
neshama?
That-
no.
No, the
Oh.
gates are hara.
That you know, the first controversy that God had with himself is when at the time that the neshama had to be put in the first individual in Adam, because if the soul is 100% pure. Well, it is, but the whole desire of the soul is to cling to its source. Its source is Hashem.
Right.
So the moment he puts the neshama in the body, this neshama wants to come back.
Yes.
Okay, so it's explained somewhere in a passage where they're discussing actually divorce. That let's understand the words between tahor, which is pure, and tameh.
Yeah.
So that's why God created tahor and tameh. But tameh does not necessarily mean bad.
No,
it just means the absence of tahor,
100%.
which is impermeability.
Yes.
And the only way to get beyond this cycle that would have been a vicious cycle that the neshama wants to come back as soon as it's put in there because it's pure, is to allow for free will.
Yes.
This is the only way that now the neshama is trapped in our body, and now we have free will, and therefore we now have choices to make, and that's how we start putting
But wait a minute,
into,
but the neshama still wants to go back.
but it's no longer pure.
No, the
Because of
neshama
free
is,
will?
Yes,
No, no, no,
because
no, no,
now
that's
our
wrong.
actions
The
or
neshama
our
is pure,
it's pure in the center, so to speak.
of course.
But as we developed and character and choices and
Your
we
mind.
start building
Yeah.
klipots around it.
But it
That's
doesn't
all.
touch the
No, it
neshama.
doesn't touch it. I
It
mean,
doesn't
well,
touch
Elokai
the inner part of the
neshama
neshama.
has to be-
No,
it's like-
doesn't
It
touch
doesn't
Good.
touch
Pure.
that, but it prevents
I
the
think
neshama. That's why
it
that's
prevents the
why-
neshama
That's
from going
because-
back.
Wait,
Yes, that's
Because
why.
the
I think
mind-
Hashem,
Why do
Hashem's
we,
real makes the
why do we
neshama
That's
come
not?
to the
Yeah,
body.
That's
what
because-
happens to the neshama when a person dies?
Goes back to
The
heaven.
neshama leaves,
The neshama leaves, and where does it go?
goes back to its source.
Not directly.
Yes?
Whatever its
It
process
hovers
is. it
with
What we
continues its
believe is
process.
right. It goes to this process of cleaning.
Yeah.
If
We
it-
gotta
it-
clean all these klipots, and that's
Which
why.
really the
Why are
cleaning-
we praying to elevate the soul?
Okay.
Because it hasn't gotten there. yet.
merits, to give it
Yeah,
merits,
exactly.
to get it higher.
So in
That-
order to get higher, we have to peel all these
Correct.
klipots.
So what is
Alright.
getting, exactly,
It-
so
it-
what is
it-
getting cleansed?
The
The
klipot.
soul.
It's the
The
lavouche,
klipots.
it's the
The
lavouche.
exactly.
Babush, not the soul.
It's
Not
the
the soul.
lavouche, it's the
The
garment.
soul is pure. Yes.
Begdim.
That's why that's the same principle that if a person commits a crime and goes in front of the Sanhedrin and says, commits a crime, presents his case. There were no lawyers. The lawyers were the Sanhedrin themselves. Presents the case and, yes, I accept, yeah, I did this, whatever. And everybody in the court decides that he's guilty, that person walks the same day. Why? Because nobody saw didn't have the heart to believe that the soul is pure and that you should at least give due process.
There has to
the
be somebody
buyer
there who can see
that
something
can
good.
see something good.
There has to be somebody there who can
Right,
see something.
and maybe you know maybe the person in question there, the only way to get this soul to finally free this soul up is to say the person has to die so that the soul can go back to its source. But at least he had somebody that tried to defend him. Okay,
Yes.
so you have to believe, that's a principle that we have to believe in the end that the soul is pure.
Of course.
The problem is the vestments in the outside.
If you say the soul is not pure, you're saying God is impure.
No. What I
I'm
mean,
just
the
saying-
soul
I
is
know.
impure
I'm
means
just saying
the soul is trapped
in the body.
in these vestments of what we call klipot, that's what's preventing the soul to shine in the purest form.
So what God wants us to do is to take our mind, which creates the klipot, right, and the true entrapment, to partner with the soul. And
Yes,
think-
but I was going
and that-
to link this
Yeah.
to the point that again, if, you know, because the explanations here are telling us right now that if it wasn't for this, quote, evil side, we wouldn't have been able to generate the offsprings that were now here.
It
You know,
was meant
So
to
there's
happen.
good and
That's
bad.
part
See,
of-
God creates good situations and
Yes.
bad situations.
When
From
you
bad
get-
comes
when,
good.
when you get ahead, it
Well,
says
look-
that this is it's created from the other side, from the dark side of the Geburah, from the left,
Right.
and all. You'll have to go ahead. I underline
But
this.
you
So
can't-
God's
but
giving
you
us the
can't have
challenge
the body
of
and the
He
soul
says
purifying.
equal.
He te-